A short week here on Wall Street, but still means there's plenty to talk about, especially with my favorite floor guy, Jonathan Corpina. Hey, Jonathan.
Favorite floor guy. That's a pretty big introduction.
I know. It's
really put yourself out there on that one.
Well, I'm going to tell you, Jonathan, we've had some tremendous feedback. I mean, you saw the tweets. People love what you say.
That's good. I'm happy to be part of this.
So I'm going to jump on board too, and let's talk about Walmart. Blew it out of proportion. Amazing earnings, citing favorable economic data. But given that fugly retail sales report and now industrial production, is that a fair statement?
I don't know if that's really a fair statement. They might be dressing it up as best as possible, and clearly we're seeing conflicting data there, right? I mean, the retail numbers were not very promising last week, and now Walmart comes in and producing the numbers that they do this week. Walmart is this incredible retail company that can fall into many different categories. In my mind, they're just a supplier of so many different things, and they're competing against the Amazons of the world. And Walmart still, as this 100-plus-year-old company, still trying to figure out their online presence versus their brick and mortar. But clearly, I think with income up for some groups of people who are out there, and then spending has been up, they're seeing it in the Walmart space. I don't think in the discretionary income space and the discretionary spending, most likely where people aren't really spending that money that way, Walmart seems to be a staple consumer in many households.
They might roll back their prices, but they're not rolling back a lot there, if you know what I'm saying. Now, a record $2 billion went into mortgage-backed securities last week. That means that's above pre-financial crisis. So does that concern you at all, Jonathan?
Yeah, I think it's very concerning. I was having this conversation with a friend in the business yesterday, just talking about overall retail market, real estate market, and the effects that we're seeing of the economy, and people getting their tax returns filed and their checks coming back, and what they were able to deduct, what they're not to be able to deduct versus their real estate taxes. So I think it's a very unique area right now, because people have always relied on real estate as being one of their own individual asset classes that they can invest in, whether it's a new home buyer or it's one that's purchased homes over time. Right now, with the uncertainty of our economy, with the uncertainty of the tax laws, especially like New York State has talked about maybe rolling it back to some sort of variation of what we've seen in the past. The uncertainty there, not really knowing what your tax returns are going to look like in 2020, 2021, I think is going to put some pressure on that real estate market.
Well, I'm glad I caught that to ask you that. One more question, because I know that you are a fan of the financial sector. We have a lot of Fed speak this week. Is this going to be something you're going to pay a lot of attention to, or we should?
I do. I don't think I pay attention because I think it's very interesting. I don't think it's going to affect our financial sector so much this week. Clearly, as we continue to hear more talk between U.S. and China, and that's progressing and going down the right road, depends on which headline or which tweet you read. That clearly will have effect overall on our economy, and I think the Fed has always remained data dependent as to what their outlook is going to look like or what they're going to do moving forward. And clearly, I think they've paused due to the uncertainty on tariffs. So hopefully, we do get some additional information for tariffs. We do get additional information on government shutdown or potential looming, and move forward from there. So the Fed speak should be interesting.
It is a slow and painful ride when it comes to the trade talk, and that is occurring this week in Washington now. Thank you so much, Jonathan. Always nice to have you on the floor.
Thank you. Enjoy the short week.